there was a project at my kind of foundation course called Appropriation. So they encouraged us to go and sort of choose an object and then kind of make it into some kind of artwork. So went around loads of second-hand shops, and there was Frister and Rossmann, a kind of German version of this, and it was on the shelf, exactly like that, £1, perfect working order, and I just thought, so yeah, took it to the till, absolutely covered in dust, and they said, we're so pleased you bought it, we're thinking about reducing it in price down to 50p because it's been, you know, and I just thought, what? So there's a story, that's a story enough to kind of start with, because these things, people took out mortgages to buy these machines. They were serious, that's kind of a year's wages, one of them. Back in, they would be definitely your second biggest purchase relative to a house, kind of back in those times. Because this one's 1899. So that was, so at Oxford Brookes, you know, we didn't have great facilities, we didn't have a great deal of time, it's all very fast paced. So I had a go, it all went horribly wrong, and then I kind of parked the idea. And then about 3 years ago, a friend of mine just walking through the studio and he said, oh, what are those bits? And kind of re-excited my interest. And I thought, yeah, I really do need to pull this off this time. So yeah, I think it was 8 months' work, most of which was research and kind of development and testing, because there's two very, very sort of innovative things about it, which is that in order that these pieces are not touching, so it's a liquid when you pour it, and if you imagine, say, pouring liquid in here, what you do is you know, pour some in, wait for that to set, and then put your pieces in and pour again. But you always get this line between pours. There's just no, that's the holy grail. There's no way of sort of getting around it. So that was the big one to get around. And how I did was that imagine it lying on its back, sort of the first shelf is basically starts here and runs down to this point. And then you let that sort of cure, sand it absolutely flat after some machining, then drop all your pieces in and sort of pour again. And then afterwards I cut these chamfers to line up, so where that plane meets that one, exactly down that line is where the plane is, which refracts the light and tricks the eyes, and you can't see it. So that was the major one to overcome, and then the other one, which was, I made loads of precautions towards it, but it's far bigger than what you should pour in one hit with resin. But you've got to pour it sort of in as few hits as possible because of you'd see the join. So this amount was a lot too much. So it's kind of like 6 months into the 8 months was the big pour. You know, about 1,200 quid's worth of resin in a bucket. Mix it up, hope the handles don't come off. Tip it in, and then I stayed awake for 36 hours with the fans gradually encroaching them across the surface. But initially, you can't have them all flat out because it will cause it to ripping. So as it's slightly curing, slightly going off, bit more fan, and after 36 hours, all of them flat out, bedtime, really weird sort of dreamy sleep with it kind of cracking and all going wrong. Woke up, came back in and kind of, it's worked. And then the 2 weeks for it to actually cure, and then a big process of kind of machining it and polishing all the surfaces back. I think 90 hours of hand polishing as well to achieve that sort of finish. So yeah, people often say also, are you doing, you know, so plenty more work like this? Absolutely not. No, thank you. Never again. Yeah.